I'm Dr. Teresa A. Smith, Dr. TAS, and welcome to this edition of Talk with TAS. Today I have Ally Dalsimer. Am I
Dalsimer. Yep.
Dalsimer with me?
Mm-hmm.
And Ally is an award-winning author. She's a life coach. She's an environmental advocate. And today we're going to talk about her journey. And she's going to help us to explore what it means to love ourselves and, perseverance and how do we transform our lives. So today we're going to talk about how does that happen and what role, self-love plays in it. So, Ally, you've accomplished so much in your career and your personal life. Can you share a defining moment where you realized your dreams and goals were truly worthwhile and how they would shape you shape your journey?
Yeah, that's a recent thing for me. That's really very recent. And I would have to say it was probably when I was running for office, and there were a lot of factors that were influencing my personal and professional development during that time. Um, my job had been eliminated by the previous Trump administration, and we had gone through COVID, and I decided to run for office, and we were all in that isolated bubble, and my mother became very ill. She ended up hospitalized for several weeks. She ended up coming to live with us rather than go to, a hospice type
Mhm.
facility, and all while still campaigning. My daughter was going through kind of a depression. She's a very extroverted person, so high school by video remote was not really her thing.
Mhm.
And fast forward a little bit, coming out of that, in the healing process of that, part of that healing process was waking up one day and realizing that I was living alone for the first time in, I don't know, 35 years, something like that. It's a long time. And really, there was one morning, and I couldn't figure out why I needed to get out of bed. Like, why did I need to get out of bed? I had to figure it out. And finally, I got out of bed because my cat was hungry.
Mhm.
So that was good. But that was really a turning point, because that began a healing journey that started with me um, turning back to these notes and this guidance that I had originally started for my children after my husband, their father, died. Um, some life advice, and it got put to the side with, you know, days get
Right.
busy,
Yes.
and I pulled it out and read it, just absorbed the messages. And for me personally, like, some people, they want to read just a long, powerful, emotionally moving journey or tale or biography, and that for them is it. For me, like, I can get a lot of meaning from a fortune cookie. It's
Mhm.
just those
Mhm.
few words, and I am able to internalize that message in a way that is personal to me and meaningful to me.
For some people, I don't know why I get out of bed, even though I'm getting out of bed every day. I don't know why I'm doing all this stuff, and I don't understand that I'm where I need to be at this moment in time. How did you get to a place where you could sit and be comfortable, understanding that you're exactly where you should be at this moment in time?
Yeah, that is an excellent question, because, like so many people, I think, like the vast majority of us, I got up every morning because I had something to do and somewhere to be. I had a job to go to, I had kids to get ready, I do blah, 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 whatever it was. But having stuff to do is very different from living in an authentic moment and doing what you feel you were meant to do. And I say in the moment because who knows where I'll be in 5 years or 10 years. Life can throw you a curveball. So when I say in the moment, I think that's where people get lost. I think people get lost with lots of, and it's so important to make future plans. You got to have
Yes.
future plans. You got to look
What is
forward
something?
to something, to whatever is meaningful to you, as opposed to looking forward to, oh, I've got to make sure that, I get the bills paid today, and I've got to make sure that, oh, I've got this report at work, or, this test I have to study for at school, or whatever it is that are these short-term, you know, quadrant
Mhm.
that are timely and may or may not be important, that pressure us, which is where we live. We all tend to live in that we got to get it done now phase. And so few of us take the time to just reflect. For people who are feeling a little bit lost, they're having the equivalent of their, why do I need to get out of bed kind of thing. And not for my job, but like, what is my purpose in life? Taking some time to self-reflect, taking some time to really think about what it is you were meant to do. And I think the easiest way to do that is think about your regrets. What do you regret not doing? Because we all have things we wish we had done. So is there a common theme there? Or is there one big thing that you wish you had done and didn't? And then ask yourself, is it really too late? I say this in my book. Is it really too late to get that puppy? Is it really too late to take that trip? Is it really too late to earn that degree?
Mhm.
Because it's not. And if you're honest with yourself, what holds us back is fear of the unknown, risking failure, right? Because what's the worst that can happen if you try something? People always say you'll fail, but I disagree. I disagree, Dr. Taz. I think the worst that can happen if you fail is that nothing changes and you wake up 10 years down the road and you're exactly as unhappy and dissatisfied with your life as you were
Mhm.
right now. That's the worst thing
Absolutely.
that can happen. So, it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Right.
And that's how you make the change towards learning to love yourself, learning to be who you were meant to be, learning to find your purpose in life. Whatever it is, it has to be incremental, because it's the incremental steps that are lasting and permanent. It's the old yo-yo dieting,
Yep.
right? If you lose 30 pounds in a couple weeks, you're gaining all that back. It's coming back.
Yeah.
If you lose half a pound a week, it might take you a couple of years to lose the weight you want, but how long did it take you to gain that weight? You
Mhm.
know? So I think, in terms of like self-love, which you mentioned at the beginning, the biggest thing is to stop berating yourself for every little thing that you do wrong. I was horribly guilty of this, right? I was my own worst enemy, beating myself up all the time, feeling unhappy about mistakes that I had made, and just gracing myself as much forgiveness as I graced to others, because I always forgave other people for things. And so that was a big step, learning to forgive myself, and then learning to accept myself and accept that my quirks, my flaws are just part of who I am. And you know what? I have a terrible sense of direction. I can't use technology. We just witnessed that. I can't help it. It's just who I am. It's part of who I am. And why should I feel bad or guilty about it?
So,
It's the way
so
I am
it's
made
the
and the
way it
way
is.
I'm built.
For someone who is struggling to try to stay motivated because it takes a while to get to our goals, what strategy would you suggest for them?
Specific strategies, I think, vary by the goal and by the person, because what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. And I'm not a believer in a one size fits all approach. You're a life coach, you know this,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I was actually talking with someone this morning, and it's someone who's working to pursue a career that they are very passionate about and they really love, but they're facing a number of obstacles right now and really feeling demotivated, not unmotivated, demotivated, because those challenges and those obstacles. But, obstacles are what you see when you take your eyes off the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And like my grandmother said, this too shall pass. And I think you've talked about, pushing through to your
Yes.
purpose. And, Your Instagram says never give up. And of course, Winston Churchill said never, 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 never give up. And so the bottom line, I don't know that there's a strategy that works for everybody, but I think the message that people should try to really embrace is that life is a marathon. And if you truly want to achieve some particular end, you really want to get a specific job in an industry that is meaningful to you, or you really want to climb Mount Everest, or you really want to lose 50 pounds, whatever your goal is, whatever that is, I think the biggest advice I would give is choose every day to do one small thing. Personally, I try to do 3 things a day. That's because 3 is my magic number. But if you can do even one small thing, it's more than you've done the day before. And if you do one small thing towards that goal, what if you want to, well, let's use climbing Mount Everest, okay? That's a big goal. Not my goal, but that's a huge goal, So maybe the first thing you do is you make arrangements to find a friend to climb a local hill, a local, whatever the highest, I actually, there's a person I used to work with, and that one of their goals, not to Everest, but was to climb the highest peak in every state in the country, starting with Florida, because, that's 2 feet, right?
Yeah.
But if you do one small thing every day, by the end of the month, you've done 30. By the end of the year, you've done 365 things. That is a lot of things that you have done to move yourself closer to your goal. And I say in the book, Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I don't agree. I think the journey of 1,000 miles begins with choosing to take that step. You have to choose to take that step. You have to put your shoes on. You have to, get your hat on. You have to open the door. You have to step out the door, and you have to take that step. And if someone is feeling stuck and they are truly motivated towards that goal, they will find a way. Just one small thing. Now, the alternate is they're stuck and they can't seem to get to where they're going. Is it really their goal? Is it really something they're choosing for themselves? So it's all too easy to do what other people want us to do and think that it's we who want it, when it's really not. And that gets right back to that inner reflection and spending time really, really thinking about yourself and what you love doing, where your passions lie.
What role does gratitude play in my personal transformation as I pursue my passion?
Yeah, gratitude is a huge factor. And I'll talk about my thoughts on that, because I personally am grateful every day for every small thing. There's a saying that the person who is easily satisfied is satisfied often. And I really believe we have so much to be thankful for, and we could talk for hours on that. I do think one of the biggest obstacles, at least in terms of some of the life coaching and personal discussions I've had with folks, is how to overcome the people who are your stumbling blocks, your naysayers. When you're 18 and you want to pursue your architect degree and your mom's like, no, you're going to nursing school, or I'm disowning you, or I'm not paying for it, or whatever the consequence is, or I will just be angry with you. There's a consequence usually to that, because for some reason people always think they know better what you need than you do. But you have to distance yourself from the negative people, circumstances, and locations in your life. And if you can minimize, if you can eliminate it, great. But, family mom, you can't eliminate your mom from your life. But if you can minimize either the time you spend or, frankly, the information you share. If you have a dream and someone keeps putting you down for it, stop sharing your dream with that person. Share it with people who support you, who bring you up, who bring you joy, and who want to see you succeed in that given field. and be grateful every day that you have the opportunity to do it. Because if you just look around the world today, you know, look at what's going on in the Middle East and Gaza. What's going on in, you know, I lived in Kinshasa. I'm watching the news stuff and I'm like, it's just heartbreaking. And, you know, so many of us are just so blessed that we live, that we're housing secure, we're food secure, we have friends, we have family who haven't all been murdered. I mean, there's just so many things to be grateful for. And I think dissatisfaction comes from wanting things that no one needs, giant houses and Maseratis and whatever. Nobody needs those things. And they don't really, yeah, they bring, you know, immediate pleasure. I mean, who wouldn't want a swimming pool in their backyard?
Oh, yeah.
But
how do you then still stay grounded and show yourself compassion as you continue focusing on your goal?
Well, I think we started this whole thing with it's not easy and it takes time and it takes practice. It's not like you're going to go from a place of, okay, I've decided I'm going to change my life to, boom, my life has changed. Yeah, that's not how it works.
No.
Which actually, okay, a little self promo here is why I titled the book, It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day. Because there are days when we just cannot be fabulous. There are days where we're like, you know what? I'm sitting down, binging Netflix and eating some Ben and Jerry's because that is a day that I need. But you have that one day. You have that one day, and they're like, okay, tomorrow is a fresh new start. Because every day actually is the maximum number of days you have left on this planet. Every day is the maximum number of days you have left on this planet. If you think about that, why would you waste them? Wasting a day is just a tragedy, and the only person you're hurting is yourself. I don't think sitting on the sofa binging Netflix and eating Ben and Jerry's one day, if I'm feeling really down in the dumps, is a waste. That is not a waste of a day. That is a day of recuperation, regeneration. And you know, we talk about recreation. Recreation is recreating yourself. You have got to take time, a little me time, to do what you want, because you can't be all that every day. You can't be fabulous every day. It's okay not to be, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to take that time, and you have to embrace that you are a flawed, imperfect human being, but allow yourself to understand you have worth, you have value, your goals are worth pursuing. And if you were meant to achieve your goal, you will achieve it because you were born with everything you need inside of you to achieve it. You would not have that goal if it was not already part and parcel of your being and in every cell of your being. And so if you are really struggling and not getting your goal and feeling depressed and all the rest of it, you may need to rethink your goal. You may need to rethink, you know what? I'm not meant to be a nurse. Or maybe I'm not meant to climb Mount Everest, you know?
Yes.
And if you do that, it'll work and it'll feel right. And, you know, I talk about right feelings being movement in the right direction. If something feels wrong, don't do it. If your gut is screaming this isn't right, listen to yourself. Like listen to the expert on you, which is you. So that would be what I would say, because you can't be all that every day, but you'll get there. And honestly, you know, this is all with the premise and the understanding that you don't have a chemical imbalance, because mental health is hugely important, but the reality is there are chemical imbalances and you may need some medication. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just a slight imbalance. And if you can smooth out the biochemical aspects of your body, then your brain is free to pursue your dreams, you know. And I'm a huge supporter of mental health and doing what's needed for mental health.
It has been my pleasure to have you on my platform. I want to thank everybody who has joined us. We do appreciate your joining us also. And until next time, before you go taking care of someone else, make sure you take care of yourself first. Bye now.